True peak stuff, yes. I'm using this mode because you told me to. Okay, wait. Okay, so this is how it usually works. So say this is mostly relevant for high frequencies. Say we have, okay, so this is an analog sound wave, right? And here's the problem. This has an analog sound wave, which is the difference of air pressure at any given moment around the normal air pressure. So this is like normal air pressure, and it goes up, it goes down. That's what sound is. It's wiggly air. Here's the problem. It has infinite resolution. What I mean by that is like just like real life. When you take a photo, you can always zoom in more and zoom in more and zoom in more and zoom in more until you get to the atomic level. And you could do the same with sound. So it has infinite data. So we can't really capture this exactly because we don't have enough capacity, like enough storage. So what we have to do is like sample it, which is where the name comes from, sampling. So turns out it's enough to sample something twice for every, so this is up until here, okay, from here to here, this is one period. So this is called big T, which is the period of one sine, or like one cycle. And it turns out that in order to sample something, you need to, at least per period, you need to sample it twice, like 2 data points. So like, let's say here and here. And this way, let's see, down here, this is what we get. We get 2 points. But we can actually, if we have 2 points, can actually reconstruct it with a process which is called interpolation, which is basically mathematics, guessing, whatever. Point is this, what we have, especially when we have low, like let's say you have like a low frequency and you have many points to sample. That's not really an issue because like you get quite a good representation of the wave, what the wave looks like, right? But let's say your sampling rate, which is 44,000 hertz, is quite close to this, to half of the frequency you're trying to sample. So for example, so the maximum, so with 40.4, wait, this is complex, I'm going to explain it better. So we're using 44.1 kilohertz, right? Which means, since we need to be sampling twice per period, the highest frequency we can sample is 22.050 hertz. This is the highest frequency we can actually sample. And anything that's close to this will approximately look like this. So, no, wait. So we will have like 1 point here and 1 point here. And this is where it gets tricky. Say you have 2 points. Okay. Say you've sampled these 3 points. So now your PC is going, okay, this is, let's say this is 0 dB. Wait. Let's say this is 0 dB on your, like the digital 0 dB. So all your samples, right? All your samples are below or on 0 dB. So your limiter is saying, okay, good, we're not clipping, great. But this is what's actually going to happen. Through interpolation, if you recreate the sound wave, you're going to get this. And all this stuff is above 0 dB and going to clip, which is intersample peaks. This is the theory. Now this is the interesting part. What this intersample peak option in your limiter will do is it will catch those intersample peaks by a process called look ahead, which means it's basically look ahead here, which means basically it takes itself delayed into the future. So like there will be some latency, you press play, but the limiter is already reacting to the stuff before it happens. And through the look ahead, it's quite hard because you have like, it adjusts the attack time in the look ahead to be precise so that you can, the limiter basically reacts perfectly to every sample so that each and every sample is below 0 dB and also like reacting to the intersample things, which means like it's oversampling, it's sampling more than it has so that it can detect these points as well. and adjust the limiter accordingly. Here's the problem. Basically, you sacrifice transient response and you're smashing your transients. Apparently, I haven't tested this yet. I have to say this, like I haven't actually tested this yet. So, but a lot of people say it will add latency to all sounds after the limiter. Well, the latency is not really a problem because we're in the digital realm and there's something called latency compensation, which is why, you know, you have a certain buffer in your DAW. So the latency is not really an issue. Okay, it might add a tiny bit of latency. You don't really notice that. The problem is more that the transients are getting fucked because your limiter pulls back ages for a transient, like a kick or a snare, okay, or any kind of transient. And we used to do this, or I used to do this. Why? Because you want to avoid intersample peaks, because you're gonna play it back, and even though it's rendered to 0 dB, it's gonna clip and it's gonna sound ugly. Well, turns out a lot of even shitty DACs, so digital to audio converters, so that could be your audio interface, that could be a phone maybe. Turns out almost all of them have what is called a pad, which is a passive aggregation device. And what this will do is basically, without any sacrifice in quality, it will weaken the signal, which in turn creates headroom. So us, because we're stupid and we're bass producers, you can actually use this to your advantage because it's additional headroom that you can utilize in the loudness war, because you don't need to worry about intersample peaks. So you can just master your track, let the peaks freaking go out 3 dB or 4, you don't care, because they're just gonna get, you know, like you're gonna be louder than everybody else because they are limiting to true peak, which you aren't. So in a way, it's something that amateurs did, and now a lot of producers do as well, even though it's retarded, but I like it. So I'm gonna have to try this though. There is a downside to it when there is no actual like good digital audio converter, or when it's like, for example, a MacBook or an iPhone, then you will have distortion with intersample peaks, but only when you turn it up really loudly, which is where most sound systems give up anyway. So is it better to mix to true peak? I can't tell you, man. Like I hadn't tried it yet. There's a lot of producers that say you don't actually need to. Like that's what everybody used to say. Like do it to true peak, avoid intersample peaks at all costs because they're gonna clip. And now people are saying no, actually you can just let them freaking clip. Like I don't give a fuck. There's a pad anyway in literally everything. And yeah. So you're just gonna have to try it. I don't know how much headroom it actually eats. I've just heard that ISP kind of, in FabFilter Pro L at least, kind of ruins transients. So I'm gonna have to try. I don't master enough lately. But yeah. I'll come back with my analysis at one point. Just something you can keep in mind though. You mix two numbers. Yeah, I mean, for example, this master it's pumping. Like, I definitely need to do a new master to this because it's, well, it's not that good. Wait. So you can hear it here. Basically, anytime there's no sub, because the limiter is pushing so hard, anytime there's no sub, it's quite loud, and the moment the sub hits, it eats all the headroom, and so we have pumping, so you can hear it here. So this is very loud, and this is very quiet by comparison. Oh, there you heard it. Listen to the vocal. Like the vocal dips about 3 dB as soon as the sub hits. Do you hear that? Lil Kane, it's like you would pull down the fader by 3 dB because the sub is eating the headroom of the limiter. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can make it more transparent, but this is basically the sacrifice of the loudness war.